Hello everyone, welcome to our series India After Independence. Let's continue. Three issues dominate the politics of Northeast: demands for autonomy, movements for secession, and opposition to outsiders. Major initiatives on the first issue in the 1970s set the stage for some dramatic developments on the second and the third in the 1980s. First, demands for autonomy. At independence, the entire region except Manipur and Tripura comprised the state of Assam. Demands for political autonomy arose when the non Assamese felt that the Assam government was imposing Assamese language on them. There were opposition and protest riots throughout the state. Leaders of the major tribal communities wanted to separate from Assam. They formed All Party Hill Leaders Conference in 1960. They demanded a tribal state to be carved out of Assam. Finally, instead of one tribal state, several states got carved out of Assam. At different points of time, the central government had to create Meghalaya, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh out of Assam. Tripura and Manipur were upgraded into states too. The reorganization of the Northeast was completed in 1972, but this was not the end of autonomy demands in the region. In Assam, for example, communities like the Bodos, Karbis, and Dimasas wanted separate states. It was not possible to go on making smaller and yet smaller states. Therefore, some other provisions of our federal setup were used to satisfy their autonomy demands while remaining in Assam. Karbis and Dimasas have been granted autonomy under district councils, while Bodos were recently granted autonomous councils. Second secessionist movement. After independence, the Mizo Hills area was made an autonomous district within Assam. Some Mizos believed that they were never a part of British India and therefore did not belong to the Indian Union. But the movement for secession gained popular support after the Assam government failed to respond adequately to to the Great Famine of 1959 in Mizo Hills. The Mizo's anger led to the formation of the Mizo National Front under the leadership of Lal Denga. In 1966, the MNF, Mizo National Front, started an armed campaign for independence. Thus started a two-decade-long battle between Mizo's insurgents and the Indian Army. The Mizo National Front (MNF) fought a guerrilla war, got support from Pakistani government, and secured shelter in the then East Pakistan. The Indian security forces countered it with a series of repressive measures of which the common people were the victims. At one point, even air force was used. These measures caused more anger and alienation among the peoples. At the end of the 2 decades of insurgency, everyone was a loser. This is where maturity of the political leadership at both ends made a difference. Lal Denga came back from exile in Pakistan, started negotiations with the Indian government. In 1986, a peace agreement was signed between Rajiv Gandhi and Lal Denga. As per this accord, Mizoram was granted full-fledged statehood with special powers, and the MNF, Mizo National Front, agreed to give up secessionist struggles. Lal Denga took over as the chief minister. These accords proved a turning point in the history of Mizoram. Today, Mizoram is one of the most peaceful places in the region and has taken big strides in literacy and development. The story of Nagaland is similar to Mizoram, except that it started much earlier and has not yet had such a happy ending. Led by Angami Zafu a section of the Nagas declared independence from India way back in 1951. Fizo turned down many offers of negotiated settlement. The Naga National Council launched an armed struggle for sovereignty of Nagas. After a period of violent insurgency, a section of the Nagas signed an agreement with the government of India, but this was not acceptable to other rebels. The problem in Nagaland still awaits a final resolution. Third, movements against outsiders. The Assam movement from 1979 to 85 is the best example of such movements against outsiders. The Assamese suspected that there were huge numbers of illegal Bengali Muslim settlers from Bangladesh. There was widespread poverty and unemployment in Assam despite the existence of natural resources like oil, tea, and coal. It was felt that these were drained out of the state without any commensurate benefit to the people. In 1979, the All Assam Students Union, ASU, a students group not affiliated to any party, led an anti-foreigner movement. The movement demanded that all outsiders who had entered the state after 1951 should be sent back. Eventually, after 6 years of turmoil, the Rajiv Gandhi-led government entered into negotiations with the ASU leaders, leading to the signing of an accord in 1985. According to this agreement, those foreigners who migrated into Assam during and after Bangladesh war and since were to be identified and deported. With the successful completion of the movement, the ASU and the Asomgung Gan Sangram Parishad organized themselves as a regional political party called Asom Gan Parishad (AGP). It came to power in 1985 with the promise of resolving the foreign national problem as well as to build a golden Assam. Assam Accord brought peace and changed the face of politics in Assam, but it did not solve the problem of immigration. Thank you.